hosted by myself, Stuart Brisgell, and that funny-looking guy next to me waving his hand, David Solomon, where we bring you uncensored conversation on a wide range of topics. And I want you to think about this for a second. Do you know Bernie Sanders? Do you know how rich that guy is? I don't know if you do, but let's keep talking. We're going to talk about and share the experiences and ideas and share opinions. Join us as we dive in the latest news, pop culture, and so much more. Sit back, relax. David's going to unleash a pile of garbage on some socialist crazy nutcase in the United States, hailing from the great state of Vermont. David, Bernie Sanders and his fancy Subaru, who likes ragging on, auto workers who get paid $30 an hour. That clown is worth $15 million, who gets $900,000 of book royalties. He only has a salary of $205,000. So how the hell do you get $15 million and working in public office if you only make $210,000? Something don't sound right, David. David, what do you got?
But again, here you go again, going off on the wrong tangent here. Okay, the whole idea of this rant today was to talk about Bernie Sanders and the UAW. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Auto Workers of America are on strike. They're looking for greater pay. There's no doubt about it. That once again, the automakers, their contract is over, and it's time to put them, to decide, what do we do with these folks? Well, here's the situation at hand here. All right. The UAW feels that they're underpaid. Okay. They feel that they are, they're not being treated properly. There's no job security. And the big problem, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the hypocrisy that is coming out, is the messaging that they're hearing. They're hearing right now that the United States government wants to veer away from traditional cars that we've had for over a century to electric cars. And that means that we can only produce them in half the time. We don't have to produce them in the full time, which means that the United Auto Workers could be with less hours, less people employed because of that. That is the green initiative by your president, Joe Biden. Then on the other side, you got Bernie Sanders saying, you greedy bastards at the auto workers, you should give the employees everything they ask for. Higher pay, 4-day work week, job guarantees. Now I'm sitting here and I'm going, hold on a second. The president of the United States, a Democrat, wants to pivot and claim that the only way to save the world, he's going to do this regardless of what it means to America and all that. And we've ranted about the green initiatives and yada, yada, yada. But he's going to put now the entire onus, the financial onus of shifting to the Green Deal on the corporations. You know who this sounds like, Stuart? Barack Obama and Obamacare. The government shouldn't be responsible. The government will mandate the corporations, and the corporations will have to pay for the changeover. And at the same time, you've got Bernie Sanders coming in from the other end saying, oh, you can't do anything to the employees. They should not be impacted by this. You should lower your profits. You should pay them more money. You should guarantee them job security and give them a 4-day work week. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Democratic Party at work. Your president, your elected officials. Stuart, I'm throwing it at you.
David, I'm just clapping. I'm applauding. They want to eliminate wage tiers. They want a 40% increase in wages. They want to restoring the cost allowance adjustment.
The 40% is over 4 years. So that's
over the life of the contract. Over the life of the contract.
4 years, right.
Right. Life of the contract. They want to restore a restoring cost of a living adjustment to counteract the current inflation, right? Then they want a divine pension for all workers. And then just to top it all off, another highlight is they want to have a 36% pay increase on top of that for job security and reduce it to a 32-hour 4-day work week. You know what, David? I'll tell you what I want. I want an unlimited amount of money, an unlimited amount of vacation days, an unlimited amount of food, roof over my shoulders, and everything else under the sun. That's my demands. Where the hell does the UA get down and dirty with this concept? Where
It's
does
but no,
Bernie
hold on.
Sanders? Where does
No, it's not the UAW. I don't blame the UAW. They're a union. They're one of the most powerful unions in the United States. Joe Biden came out and, of course, said he's done more for the unions than any other president in the United States because that's all he ever does. He says he does is more than anybody as the president. Okay, but here's the thing, though. Okay, if you want to have a discourse, a complete conversation about a 4-day work week, you're going to take the UAW and you're going to use that as your test case. I think that there's a little bit of a mistake here. If you want to shift the entire economy to a 4-day work week because, as Bernie claims, AI is going to make us better, then have that conversation. Have the economists analyze the impact of it. Because what you've done is dump on corporations the entire risk and financial risk of making this shift. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but look at the magnitude. You're talking about one of the biggest industries in the United States that has been in trouble against the Japanese, against the Koreans. And what you're doing is you've increased costs. But you know what? It's interesting, Stuart. Bernie Sanders, in his typical Democratic way, and I mean Democrat Party way, not a Democrat in terms of democracy, is blame the corporations. Bernie's been good at that. He wants to raise taxes on the ultra wealthy. Of course, not his tier. At his tier, it's okay. But anybody above him, no. All right? Stuart,
David, eliminate tiers, big wage increase, restore COLA, defined benefit program for all workers, reestablish retiree medical benefits, right to strike, working family protection, end abuse of temp workers, more time off to be with families. David, I'd like to ask you a question. Auto workers or teachers? Who's more valuable?
Okay, listen, Stuart, but I think but this is the problem is look what you're comparing. You've got auto workers making over $30 an hour in full time, which is rates to approximately $60,000 a year. I'm rounding the numbers. And there are teachers making
starting
at 60,000 to work a line or to work whatever they're doing. And I'm not diminishing it. Kudos to you. And a teacher's making less. The teachers are run by the government. The corporations are running the UAW. So the corporations are running the auto workers and our auto industry. And you're telling me that we're going to go and we're going to screw the auto industry. This is the intelligentsia of the Democratic Party. Is their only way to solve the problems that they cause is by penalizing corporations rather than fixing the problems. Look, people can't put food on the table. Right? This is Bernie's argument. There's no food on the table. People are struggling. So corporations, you're greedy. His claim now is that the head of General Motors now makes $29 million a year. Okay, if you work at the big three, you make less than $17 an hour. You know what? I understand. Corporate greed. I hear you. Corporate greed. That's his famous line.
I got a better one for Bernie Sanders. I would like to know what all of his staffers get paid. And I'd like to challenge, do they make more than $2 million a year? Pro rata the difference? I'd like to know how much all of Bernie Sanders' staff make. 28,000 maybe a year, 30,000 a year. And where does Bernie get off? I think Bernie needs to cough up more of his salary to pay for his staffers because clearly he's a cheap fuck.
It's not about. Listen, Bernie talks from both ends of his mouth. He says, "Oh, I'm going to give my book royalties away," but in the meantime, the guy's net worth is over 10 mil. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to understand. Okay, how did you get to this, buddy? On the backs of the people that you claim to support. So stop giving me this business that people are sick and tired of corporate greed. You know what? Listen, you want to have a conversation about corporate greed. You want to have a conversation about corporations. Then you're basically, once again, Bernie Sanders, the freaking communist, is saying, it's good to be angry at capitalism. It's absolutely insane to believe that without capitalism, you couldn't give greater wages. Everybody else would be making minimum wage because that is what the socialists and the communists do. They give you the bare minimum. There's no wealth, there's no prosperity, there's nothing. There's equality, and I put it in quotations because it's not, but you get the bare minimum. Here, you have the ability to negotiate. But again, fix the problem, Bernie. Don't put a band-aid and blame the corporations. Your party, the party you wanted to be president of, is the one that's causing the problems here. And you want to blame GM, Ford, and Chrysler and say you're the problem. You fix it, and everybody's going to be happy. That's the biggest load of garbage imaginable.
I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. This guy, literally from Brooklyn, New York, someone dropped him on his head. But you know what? He's making money the whole way through. You know what? I got to give the guy credit. He picked a cause that no one wanted, found a bunch of idiots that push him forward, and he's a multimillionaire today. I mean, there's nothing else to describe him.
He's not an idiot. He's actually quite smart. He preyed on people's, insecurity. He preyed upon people's, economics, and he said, hey, listen, the only way we can get better, you people are, making below minimum wage, or you're making, you're getting screwed. But again, blame the government. It's typical blame politics. Don't blame me. I am not accountable. The Democrats have had control, and for years, and they all they did was spend more in the wrong areas. They didn't help the middle class.
Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, I'd like to know if they're going to call out AOC.
Oh, please.
No. I mean, these guys, where is their moral values? They can't even call out their own members.
It's not about calling themselves out, Stuart. It's about the party itself is the party of spending money they don't have. They're like a teenager with a credit card, and they don't care. And the government, and what do? It's the people who take the credit card and they say, go spend the money. And who's gonna pay for it at the end?
He made the money on the backs of Americans. His net worth in 2000 was $100,000. 2005, he was worth $660,000. 2010, now he's worth $4 million.
Guess where?
From 2010 to 2015, now he's worth $11 million.
The point
in 2010, how much money did that man make off the backs of people that lost their houses?
But listen, corporate greed is all he throws out. That's his favorite line. It's his favorite line. That it's the corporation's fault. The corporations are not allowed to make money. And here he's saying, instead of his government that he votes for all the time, instead of putting them in an accountable position of saying, you know what, guys, let's be frugal with our spending. Let's be smart with our spending. Let's stop giving our best friends the money that we promised to the people. Like this Build Back Better America thing, failure, right? The Inflation Reduction Act, failure. Bidenomics is a failure, but let's blame the corporations. Bravo, Bernie. Bravo. You continue to prey on the people, and you continue to completely, miseducate people. Good for you, Bernie.
It's all good. David, you know what time it is?
Wrap it up, Stuart. I am tired of Bernie Sanders.
You know what, guys? I'm tired of him too. Guys, thank you for joining in today on this great episode talking about communism in America. No, talking about the UAW and their strike. And you know what? They're on strike. I guess your Ford, GM, and Chrysler is going to sit and wait. We hope you liked the episode, got valuable insight. Hope it caused us to cause more of a conversation at your water cooler and challenge those people who you work with and talk to every day. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, David and I go about these topics. Please, in the meantime, join us on social media. Join us online. Message us and everything else. David, wrap it up. Say goodbye. Under 15